Alright, so in my brain's limitless and futile effort to find order and logic, I think I figured out an explanation for why Mission Impossible's story is so stupid, because you could not possibly write something this earth-shakingly moronic on purpose. To recap the last review, the second mission of the game has you stealing a list of American assets from the KGB in a nearly impossible mission. In the third level, the fact that you survived said impossible mission has landed you in a CIA interrogation cell because they think you're a mole. You managed to escape, but before you escape you have to steal the asset list from the CIA, the people who, by any stretch of the imagination, should have the list since they made it and the assets who are on the list are their assets. I've gathered my evidence and now I will state my case. The original story of this game involved you being captured by the KGB at the end of the previous mission and had to escape KGB headquarters, but they changed it at the last second so that you were escaping from the CIA. Why? I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to demonize Russians, maybe they didn't want the KGB to be the villains twice in a row, maybe Vladimir Putin threatened to annex Ocean Studios. Whatever the reason, they changed the story but already had the levels coded, so they changed the text to the CIA to cover up the change to the story. That would explain why you have to steal the NOC list when there is absolutely no reason for you to take the list from the CIA, and it makes sense why you have to escape from an interrogation cell when you have absolutely zero information to risk giving up. There, the world makes sense again. I can continue. I don't want to, but I can continue. The level where you steal the list, you have to drop down this shaft dodging lasers to get to the computer with the list. This level is total ass and gravy because the controls are awful. If you press the control stick left or right, you swing your body in that direction, but if you move the control stick forward or backward, it tilts your body forward and backward, basically making you vertical and guaranteeing that you hit a laser, and also meaning that you can't swing vertically unless you just somehow happen to get turned around out of luck. Red lasers hurt you and yellow lasers kill you. The game brings up a little timer before you die if you hit a yellow laser, but there's no way to complete the mission once the timer starts. It's just the game letting you know you done screwed up before you die. Once you get to the bottom, you have to swing over to the card reader and then over to the computer. Grab it. I'm putting the card reader in your hand! Grab the reader, you idiot! What am I even looking at? Funny how the cable above me apparently isn't setting off any of the lasers, but screw it, I don't care. The last CIA level, you have to use some explosive gum to cause a diversion so you can get to the chopper! And of course, nothing in this game is freaking simple. To get to the chopper, you have to run through this hallway, which results in you immediately getting caught by a guard you couldn't possibly know was there, and you die. You're supposed to set the explosive gum before you go through that tunnel so the guy waits a few seconds before killing you, but you have no way of knowing where you're supposed to put the gum unless you get tired of dying and start exploring the entire level trying to figure out what to do. But get this, once you set this explosive gum, you can run to the left or you can run to the right. Both directions lead to the exact same place. If you run to the left, the gum explodes, 3 guards come running, and you probably die. If you run to the right, the game breaks, the gum doesn't explode, and you can't complete this level because hallway guy will auto-kill you no matter what you do. This game is so finicky that running counterclockwise around this level instead of clockwise is all it takes to piss off the game. Though there is one minor point to bring up. The guy who mentioned this game to me said that this game was bugged out the butt, and this is the third and final glitch that I encountered in the game. The first bug I found was the teammate in the last embassy level wouldn't talk to me and I couldn't finish the level. This happened on 2 separate occasions, by the way. The second bug I encountered was in the second CIA mission. None of the enemies are supposed to attack you once you put on your disguise, but there's one asshole who didn't get that memo and attacks. So he attacks, for all he knows, the guy who just came to fix the cable. So if that guy was telling the truth, either the Nintendo 64 game is much more stable than the PlayStation version, or I'm just lucky. Shit! So much for being lucky. Now that we're out of the CIA, praise to God, the next mission has Ethan meeting with Max to trade the NOC list for the name of the mole, planning to steal the list right back as soon as the deal goes down. The game doesn't tell you who the hell Max is, you're just told she's an information handler, whatever that means. Max betrays Ethan the second he gives up the list, and the next level has you gunning down Max's goons with a sniper rifle. This level could have been fun if it weren't broken in every single way imaginable. Everything about this level is random. Ethan's movements are random, the enemies and their movement patterns are random, and because there are gigantic obstructions over about a quarter of the level, it's pretty much a metaphysical certainty that enemies will spawn in a place where it's physically impossible to hit them. And I'm not exaggerating, I mean their body is 100% blocked, you cannot see or hit them, so Ethan collects bullet wounds like stamps, and there isn't jack frickin' shit you can do about it. If When this happens, all you can do is hope that Ethan manages to run away and lure them out into a spot where you can hit them, and since Ethan tends to stand still when people are shooting at him, you can't count on this to happen. Methinks this game wasn't play-tested, or it was tested and the testers organized a ritualistic mass hanging. If you shoot a civilian, you immediately failed the mission, and this raises an interesting point. My sniper rifle is pretty clearly not silenced, and there are people whipping out guns and shooting through the entire station. How come none of these civilians are running for the hills? Is London such a massive shithole that mass shootings in train stations are so common that most people don't even notice they occur? You're telling me a guy's head, or his junk, can explode like a Gallagher watermelon and nobody bats an eye? Every now and then you'll get somebody who freaks out, but eventually even they just go about their normal business after a few seconds. I swear, people these days. See, this is why I never play the sniper in Team Fortress 2. I'm much more of a demo man. Or a pyro. The next level, you're hunting down Max on a train and you have to kill a bunch of her goons. I've got a question for you. If you're riding a train, I know nobody rides trains anymore, but just for the sake of argument, if you're riding a train and some people who look like spies start having a gun battle, would you A, duck and cover until the shooting stops, or B, run out into the aisle directly into all the combatants' line of fire, screaming like a jump scare in a horror movie? I'm curious of the results of this little poll, because the entire train's population opts for plan B. You find out that Max has a bomb, and you have to find a way to stop Max and keep the bomb from exploding, but you also need Max alive because the entire point of this mission is to find out from Max who the mole is. My first thought was to run up to Max, punch her lights out, and grab the detonator before she could use it, but that didn't work. She somehow found time between punches to the face to pull out the detonator and use it. My second plan was to walk past Max, disarm the bombs, and then beat her senseless now that she got no leverage, but that doesn't work either. As soon as you get to the train car with the bomb inside, Max somehow finds out that you're on the train, despite having no surveillance of any kind, and I'm guessing no radios with her goons, and she detonates the bombs. Fresh out of ideas, I pulled out the walkthrough, getting tired of me saying that yet, and guess how you're supposed to beat this level? You just walk up to Max and blow her brains out. That's all you're supposed to do. The entire point of this mission is to ask Max who the mole is. This is the exact opposite of what you've been told to do. This game punishes common sense. Once you walk to the next car, you find Phelps, your boss from the first two missions, standing there, and you figure out that he's the mole. Okay, why is Phelps on this train? Did he come along specifically to see Max tell you that he's the mole, or did he just happen to be on this train at the same time and he just has really bad luck? And I had to go back and look up who Phelps is because these game's characters are so non-existent that I completely forgot who he was. He's the leader of the IMF. It seems dumb for him to be the mole. It doesn't seem like he really needs to be the mole if he's in a position that high. But at the same time, I'm hard-pressed to think of a solid reason why this doesn't make sense. I decided to tempt fate and try shooting Phelps in the face the second I saw him to see if it would break the game, and sadly, in a rare instance of intelligent programming for this game, he just runs away. So you kill Phelps and you walk back into the CIA exonerated as a free man and a loyal agent, and the CIA doofus that was interrogating you earlier tells you that he knew all along you weren't the mole, he just framed you so it would motivate you to hunt down the mole yourself. I am seriously tempted to go back to the first CIA mission so I can shoot this guy in the dick a few more times. I mean, and here I was, trying to give this game credit. I said you couldn't possibly have made a story this stupid. Well, I was wrong, wasn't I? If you're a supervillain, you know a foolproof way to tell that your master plan is awful? If your hero can stop it by sitting on his ass and doing nothing. There are so many infinitesimal things that could go wrong with this plan. When your depiction of the CIA makes American Dad look downright realistic, you done screwed up! Because this game seems to think it's cute, the last mission of the game is a repeat of the first mission, only with much more shit to do. The first level is simple, you just run around collecting items that, for freaking once, are all marked on your field scanner. I honestly don't know how I got this far without complaining about the movement in this game. You only run at full speed if you're moving in a cardinal direction, forward, left, or right. If you move even slightly diagonally, you run at maybe half the speed you're supposed to. The controls are like perpetually trying to trudge through mud. You take an electrician along on the second polar mission, and about halfway through, he calls you to say that he lost his wire cutters and he needs you to go find some new ones. The agent, who specializes in electronics, lost his wire cutters. Dude had one job to do. After you blow up the pump house, your two allies call you for help because they've been pinned down by enemies. About time you got here. I refuse to take sass from two IMF agents who can't handle odds any better than 2-on-2! The electrician does his thing and escapes, and guess what? The moron cut the wrong wire, and now you need to find some night vision goggles. You know that scene in Dragon Ball Z where Vegeta gets so fed up with Nappa's raging incompetence that he just blows him up rather than put up with one more second of his bottomless stupidity? I sympathize. Jackass hasn't done one thing right since we got here! Another thing I can't believe I forgot to mention, the first thing you do in every single level is quit and start the level over because your health and ammo don't replenish between levels unless you stop and restart. Probably yet another trap to get you to fail missions. Plus there are no health power-ups. Anywhere. The third level you have to take out an accountant and steal his identity, and then you're not told where in the actual hell you're supposed to go, and there's a dozen plus buildings in this level. I'm gonna be honest with you, the first time that I played this level, I found the accountant right away and completed the level with pretty much no troubles, but when I was gathering game footage, I could not find that peckerhead anywhere! As I was wandering around this level, I found a gunboat, and the instant you climb inside, Ethan climbs into the cockpit and drives away, instantly failing the mission! Why would he do that? He's like, screw this, I'm out of here! Later, bitches! Not lying though, I'd probably do the same thing. The first thing you do in the level is sabotage the power, and from there you have 20 minutes to finish the level. Again, nothing in this mission is marked on your map, and the map is huge, so this level is not only trial and error, running between buildings and hoping you find your next objective, but it's an extended period of trial and error on a time limit. And once you take the accountant's disguise, none of the enemies shoot at you, you're just wandering around this level with stiff as hell movement controls, trying to figure out where the hell you're supposed to go with nothing to do! In other words, this level can screw off. Oh look, I found a new way to die, get caught by the camera you couldn't possibly know was there. Oh look, I found a new way to die, try to shoot out the camera that you couldn't possibly know was there. The last level is a turret section where you basically blow up the entire base, and this place is freaking huge. How did this guy manage to hide this base for this long? And even something as simple as a turret section, this game still manages to screw up. You turn so excruciatingly slowly, and the enemies basically cut you to shreds while you try to line up a good shot. It's worth mentioning that I bought this game used, of course, and the first thing that I did was delete all of the old save files on the cartridge. Every single save file was full, and none of them said "Game Done" on them. This means that at least 4 people were playing this cartridge, and every single one of them rage quit. Also, I like that terminology the game uses. Game done, not game complete or game finished. No terminology to imply that you've accomplished something, just done. Got it, we're done here. Don't need to play this shit anymore. The hell? After you finish the last level of the game, you're taken back to the embassy from Mission 2, and you run into character models based on all of the game's developers. You run around talking to them, and they tell you their names and their jobs. How arrogant do you have to be to put in character models of your entire staff in the game and then force the player to go through them? The developers of good games don't do that. You don't see Rocksteady pulling this shit. At the risk of belaboring a point, Mission Impossible sucks. The puzzles make no sense, it takes forever to figure out how the game works since you die so often, and even if the game did make sense, its core gameplay is just awful. The only redeemable thing about this game is that I now have the chance to punch the entire dev team's lights out. Never mind. There's nothing redeeming about this game. Really? Power's out. Weird, none of the other houses look like their power is out. I don't know what's going on. Gotcha! Who are you? How many of you are there? I've got 6 more heat seekers in this magazine. Who else wants one? Just wasted. Yep. Yep, he's dead. So, package has been secured. Roger that. We'll search for additional contraband. Additional contraband found. Package secured. What package? That Transformers, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Space Invaders, Why would you send someone to break into another person's house just to steal some Activision. Oh my god, I don't freaking believe this. Activision, actually, that legal agreement that they put in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Amazing Spider-Man 2, they were serious. If you violate the agreement, then it becomes illegal to play Activision games, and they were serious. They're gonna enforce it.
Brutality of my associate, but I can't let you die just yet. I've still got plans for you.
Who? What are you?
Someone who enjoys watching you suffer. Something you said in your Arkham Origins Blackgate review intrigues me. A game that shall not be named. Could it be that there's a game that even you fear? A Metroid game? And could it be that this game is called Metroid Other M?
And what if I just don't play it?
You will. You can't help yourself. You faced the dark too long. Now you're drawn to it. It is part of you now. Don't fight it. Embrace it. Because it will never go away.